Hi everyone, welcome to RPV City Talk. I'm Liz Brown Swanson here with the great mayor of Rancho Palos Verdes, MayorJohn Cruikshank. Great to have you here. We have an amazing show ahead.
Great to be here, Liz. It's always a pleasure.
Well, we've kicked off summer and 4th of July is around the corner, so this is sort of our patriotic show. And I want to start off by before we get into all the serious things happening in our city as well, to let our viewers know that we have a very special segment at the end, and it's going to be a pie eating contest between our mayor, who's trying to reclaim the title as the Pie King of Rancho Palos Verdes, and he's being challenged by Councilmember David Bradley. I don't think he knows what he's up against.
Well, he doesn't yet. I don't think he knows I'm actually a past champion of the RPV Pie Eating Contest, and you know, he doesn't know some of the secrets that I learned in watching some of our residents eat pie, and so.
Well, it's going to be sweet. It's going to be at the end of City Talk, and the great thing is also the pie, which has extra whipped cream, was made and donated to us by Terranea Resort. Terranea is now officially reopened, and really that's where we want to start the show because we're so excited that they've reopened their doors and they're back. So talk about what you're hearing about the resort reopening and just what it means to the community.
Well, it's been clearly a long time coming. We've all been driving Palos Verdes Drive South. We've seen that they had their gates and people there at the entrance and haven't been let in. And you know, for me, it signifies really the reopening, the true reopening of Rancho Palos Verdes. On Friday, they did have some of their registered guests there, and then Saturday and Sunday, they did have that soft opening that you mentioned, and everyone could come and go to the lobby bar or Nelson's restaurant and really enjoy themselves.
And I know our RPVtv crew we went over the day before opening, actually their reopening, and met with Terry Hack, the president, so she could kind of walk all of us through what the lengths are going to make sure that they're open safe and with protocols in place. Of course, all guests have to wear masks on the premises and stuff. It's really a safe environment, but still an amazing fun, and I'm looking forward to jumping in that pool once again.
Nice.
So everything, though, is opening at its own pace, and you should probably check out their website, too, as things are coming back on with activities. And so anyway, looking forward to seeing you there. But it's so nice. And, of course, just as well as to have that transient occupancy tax back coming our way to our city coffers, that's really important as well.
Well, it is. I mean,
that's part of it.
They're a huge part of our budget, but you know, for me, just seeing any business reopen is exciting.
Yes. Also, reopening is the Trump National Golf Club. They started golf up a little while back, but now their restaurant is also open. The restaurants are open, and I actually dined there with my husband. It was great. It was packed, but again, safely packed. They had spaces between tables, but great menu again. And have you got to go over there and check it out?
I was over there on Saturday and had a chance to have some dinner over there, see some friends. And you know, it's all part of this phase 3 reopening of where bars are now able to be open along with restaurants. So.
Right. How about your, I know you have your mayor's breakfast. Are they back on board there? Or are you still doing virtual?
No, actually the next mayor's breakfast, we're going to be meeting in person at Trump National.
Fabulous.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And you know, but on the note of all the positive things happening as well, when Trump, we've had a focused in the news of what was been happening with protests at the top of Trump Drive. The city staff and law enforcement have, beefed up efforts to be there to keep the protests, which have been peaceful. I was at the first one to sort of see what was going on. Your thoughts on that and the impact it's been having on the community?
Well, of course, when the first one was, we were notified of the first one happening, we were all kind of unsure. But after the first one, where our sheriff's department was there to protect everyone, protesters and the businesses and the residents, that was peaceful. The second one we had was a huge one. That was more than 400 people. I know you live in that area, so you probably see that.
Yeah, I've been seeing you across the street.
And then last weekend, I think it was tapered down quite a bit. My theory is that now that the bars are reopened, there's many other things to do. But it was once again another peaceful protest, and we were very happy with that. So the only thing I would say about this is that if you're driving your car through the neighborhood and you're supporting the protesters, maybe give them a nice friendly wave and a smile versus the honking the horns, because there are a lot of residents there, and after 7-8 hours of honking, it gets a little monotonous for our residents.
And again, I know because I do live across the street, and one of the concern by some of my neighbors was that that we are in a neighborhood that enforces a residential permit parking only. On some streets, there was some confusion. I think some of my neighbors actually got tickets, and they didn't understand. The city has a permit parking program in place. Can you just remind our residents where it's in different neighborhoods and how that all works?
Sure. Our city does have a residential parking permit program. The majority of the residents in that neighborhood have to actually agree on that, and the number I understand is a petition with 70% of the residents. In that situation, if you want to park in those streets, you would have to have either a sticker, decal, or a placard. So if you're in a residential area that you'd like to explore looking at that sort of program, you can come to City Hall or call up City Hall and ask them about that. But yes, there are programs where we can help in areas like yours that you do have parking issues.
Right. To get the decal, the easiest way actually is just to go online and the city website, rpvca.gov. It's through Public Works. Fill out your application, which includes your VIN number and all that information. And of course, you can also make an appointment. We'll come here to City Hall to pick it up, but they will mail them to you.
Yeah, and just
I need a decal.
And just to add to it, though, if you're in an area that's, I guess, near the ocean, you will need to go through the Coastal Commission. So even though going through the city would be much easier, you're going to have to add that extra layer of them approving that permit.
All right, well, thank you for that. Can you now, let's move on to an update about what's happening is the city's response to the pandemic, how we continue to monitor what's happening with COVID-19. So much is reopening, thankfully. Just what you want to let the residents know right now.
Sure. No, we constantly have been monitoring the reopening and being on the LA County Health Department calls to participate and to listen to what's going on. We have opened with the phase 3 reopenings, and I'm not one to go to get my nails done, but there are a lot of nail salons on the peninsula, and so those have been allowed to reopen using safety protocols. Cosmetology, spas, massage services, tattoos, piercings, for those of you so inclined to do that. But for me, seeing all these businesses reopen is great. Also, we've watched the protests on TV, so now I understand that there are not limitations on protest numbers, and also religious type services don't have those restrictions either anymore.
As far as the protocols in place, though, for example, mask wearing and all that, when you come to City Hall, you're supposed to have a mask on.
Right.
How does that work?
That's right. I mean, we need to continue to be distanced from one another. When you're indoors and you're going to be near people, you really need to have your mask on. Outdoors, the way that works, and I know there's always confusion about the outdoors, but you do not need to wear a mask unless you're not going to be able to social distance. And if you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be closer to people that aren't in your family, then you're going to need to wear that mask. So that's kind of how that works.
Right, like us, 6 feet plus apart.
That's right.
So we can keep the masks off. It's been a busy time for the council over budget season. You had workshops and lots of meetings, and but you finally approved the budget for 2021. Congratulations on that. Just share with our community, what were the final figures? You did a sheriff's contract, you have the general fund, as well as the budget for the CIP, the capital improvements.
That's right.
Plan. So give us the bottom line, the numbers.
Sure. No, I mean, so our expenditures for this upcoming fiscal year is $28.8 million. And our revenues are expected to be $29.2 million, so slightly more than expenditures, which everyone likes to hear that we're bringing in more than we're spending.
Yes.
The budget for the sheriff, it does go up every year. Of course, their salaries go up and their expenses go up. So we'll be, we've budgeted a little more, $7.2 million for the upcoming year, fiscal year 2021. Capital improvement projects, the CIP budget, we're at $4.2 million, and there's 4 funds within that. So right now, our budget actually includes a surplus of $8 million at the end of the fiscal year, and the reason that is because we have one-time savings. We're not filling vacancies for several of the staff positions. We're reducing the use of our consultants. We are a contract city, so we have the flexibility to do that, and also we have other cost savings like purchases and other things, so we're able to keep our budget in check.
So we're in good fiscal shape, considering also the implications from COVID-19 that we've seen.
You know, if you're reading what's happening in other cities, everyone should feel very thankful that we have a staff that's very cognizant of this, and you know, previous councils and others that have voted on great programs to keep our city solvent.
Okay. In the month of June, a couple meetings, we're going to kind of look at agenda items that council voted on. We always do that to bring our community up to speed. At June 16th, you had the Rec and Parks staff presented an update on the City Trails Network Plan.
Right.
So can you just explain the strategy for updating that plan and sort of how it benefits us to have that?
Sure. Well, right now there's several different documents that have been created over the decades. And those include bike trails and hiking trails and horse trails and every different type of trail that we have in our city, and they're all important. And then also we have our many trails that are in our preserve. And so for our limited staff of 60 or 70 people to be able to have a plan or something to follow, it's really nice to consolidate that information into one. So, nothing was replaced. It's all being consolidated. We have a consultant that's going to move forward with that. They're a little more than a third done with their work. And so we'll be consolidating, but then there'll be community meetings. We're going to plan for 2 planning commission meetings, and there'll be 2 city council meetings. So there'll be at least 5 more opportunities for our residents to come participate in seeing what that final product. But the reality is we're trying to consolidate it into a document that is useful, something that we can actually pick off the shelf and use it versus having 5 or 6 different documents that are all just gathering dust.
I go up, I live by Ladera Linda, so I'm up on Forest all the time, but I was impressed by the number. I think it was like 9 miles of coastal trail alone.
Yeah. There's quite a few, and people would be pleasantly surprised. And so that's another benefit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we kind of know that there's trails in and around our homes, but once this document's out, people actually say, hey, there's a trail that's right next to my home or near my home. So hopefully that helps all of us.
I know you have one right near you, you said. Where you?
And it's great. I sometimes I'm out washing my car or something, and a whole bunch of people come up hiking right past my house, and we say hello, and they go on their way, so it's nice.
So moving on, at the June 2nd meeting, the council voted to consider joining what is the Los Angeles County's Clean Power Alliance, by preparing a feasibility study to collect data that will assess basically clean energy costs and options for residents. So talk about what that all it's about.
So we had a discussion about possibly joining the CPA, which is the Clean Power Alliance.
Okay.
And so the discussion basically, so the idea is that this Clean Power Alliance is a number of other cities that have developed a consortium where they're buying power from 100% renewable sources, and so it gives people the alternative to purchase clean power.
Right.
Edison already has this program, but because people don't know about it. So we're now advertising that. I know we're going to talk a little bit about it too, but what we voted on is that we are going to have this first initial notice of intent so that we can get this report. There's a report that needs to be prepared, and it actually shows the amount of usage within our city of energy. And so that'll help us to kind of benchmark where we're at so that we're looking at greenhouse gases and energy usage. So we felt that for $15,000, we're never going to get this information any other way, and it seemed like a good cost-effective way to do that.
So you're in a fact-finding mode.
We're in a fact-finding mode, but I would say that that's really what the council wanted to do at this point.
Okay. And on that note, so now on the city website, they've just posted Southern California Edison's Green Rate Program and how residents can enroll in that. So how does that tie in, and what can you tell us then about that program on our website that residents can check out?
No, absolutely. I mean, a lot of our residents probably would like to know that they are purchasing 100% renewable clean energy. And so if you go to the Edison website, which you'll probably post here on your show, people will be able to go to that site, and if they're currently buying, I think it's probably 60 or 70% they currently have renewables, they can go to the 100%. They would pay a little bit more per month, but they would know that what they're purchasing is the renewable energy. So if people were so inclined to do that, they could do that tomorrow if they like, without having to join this Clean Power Alliance.
Right, so lots of options.
People have options, and we're trying to make sure everyone knows about them.
And one option you're looking into is making RPV blossoming into a sister city with Sakura, Japan. So tell what's going on with that and why it might be nice to have a sister city.
This is terrific. I mean, Rancho Palos Verdes does not have a sister city, as you know. And some cities actually have probably a couple dozen. The city of Los Angeles does. And that's probably a little bit more for us to bite off right now, but at least having one would be nice. And so actually since 2001, the fine people of Sakura City have been sending students from their middle schools to come and participate at Marist Intermediate School. And I believe it says 300, they've told me 300 students in the past have done that. They wanted to have a visit, an official visit, and actually the mayor, his name's Takashi Hanatsuka, and he visited us with an entourage, and then Councilwoman Ferraro said, we should consider being a sister city with them, and what a great idea. And the whole idea of just goodwill and friendship among, cities is just a wonderful idea. So their city's already agreed to it, and now we've agreed to it, and now we're going to find a way to do a live event over video streaming. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Councilman Bradley got a plane ticket and went back over there.
Yeah.
He's already been there once, so they've sent these photos of just how beautiful, and our city's so beautiful too. So we're hoping to share all that.
Well, it sounds like it'll be a long-lasting friendship.
Yep.
And excellent. All right. So the city's website also, on that note, rpvca.gov. I always mention this show because I'm still blown away by all the information that's there, and it's a great resource. But you've posted a request that we need resident input right now regarding what's called the Safe Routes to School Plan, a peninsula-wide plan that's being developed. Why do we need resident input, and just sort of, what are you looking for with citizens' feedback on this?
Well, so I've already had an opportunity to look at my area, which is right near Mira Catalina Elementary School.
Go Miracat.
Yeah.
Oh, my 3 kids went there.
There you go. And so it's great. You go online, and our consultants have actually prepared some ideas of what they think might work. I was not 100% on board with their ideas, and I gave them my thoughts. And I would encourage all of our residents to take a look, because the Safer Schools program and Safer Routes program is really to make sure that when parents bring their kids to school, or when kids are trying to walk to school from their house, they have the most safety possible to get to school. And of course, we always want to encourage kids to be walking as much as possible and getting out and exercising. But a lot of parents don't want to necessarily do that because it's not so safe to walk to school with drivers not paying attention and that sort of thing. So I recommend they go to the website, they check out the school in their area, make comments. I'm sure that every comment that people have will be incorporated and thought through, and we can make it safer for all of our schools throughout the city.
Yeah, when you mentioned Miracat, I just remember those days of being parked on Crest and holding on to my hands for dear life with my boys and getting across Crest right at the corner.
That was one of my comments, actually, that I
Yes.
think we should try to encourage the cars to stay on the one side of Crest so that you don't have people crossing over, because you're right, it's posted 40
and I have
miles
to
an hour.
review the plan as well as a resident. So there's a review period now, and they're looking for feedback over the
That's right.
upcoming weeks.
That's right.
Excellent. Moving on to a presentation that I found so fascinating by the LA County Sanitation District at the City Council meeting and at the June 16th. So I say residents, go onto the city's website, click on the meetings, watch that presentation. It really just sort of takeaways for you about what happens with recycling in our community, and where most of it goes to China, and that the fact that I knew not to put a pizza box that's got oil on it in my recycling bin, but I think Councilman Bradley wasn't sure about that. And you learn, you learn about what really goes in your recyclables now and where it goes. So what did you think about that presentation?
Well, so I'm on the board with the sanitation district, and I had seen not that entire presentation, but I knew they were giving those presentations to other cities, and so I had requested they come talk to us, because even for me, my wife and I, we struggle with what can go in the recycle versus not. So EDCO is our trash hauler, and hopefully you have an opportunity to there's a really nice graphic on the EDCO webpage that shows you exactly what the do's and don'ts of what you could put in there, so people can see that. But the bottom line is this, that our sanitation district, they're the ones that ultimately dispose of and take things to landfill, or they take them to typically China to recycle. And the positive thing is that China is taking the environmental issues a lot more serious.
Right.
They are being a lot more strict of what they take from us. And my understanding is that if you bring a ship that doesn't have 95% or greater purity in the recycling goods, they'll turn the ship right around because they don't want extra trash for the landfills. So it's really important that we understand what we can and can't recycle. Our city does a really decent job. We have a 60% recycle rate, and where the average is at 40%.
Right. You're halfway through your term as mayor, and I just want to know if you want to share a highlight so far in 2020 for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't believe it.
You know, I would have loved to have said my highlight was the Whale of the Day or Memorial Day services or that. But for me, I really enjoy our mayor's breakfasts, and I'll tell you why. Even though they've been virtual, I get a chance to hear from our other community leaders, and I know Zoom is tedious to people, but it actually is a good way to hear from every single person. And we have some really smart people in this city, and it's really great hearing their ideas. And it really helps me as mayor and as a council member because I need people's input to help me make good decisions. And we have some amazing community leaders. So I really enjoyed the mayor's breakfasts.
Yeah.
And I'm going to really enjoy eating a nice breakfast while having a mayor's breakfast.
I know, so you'll be back at Trump National. That'll be fantastic. And it's summertime, summer fun. And what are you planning to do this summer? I'm curious. Any favorite things you do during the summer?
You know, I enjoy when my son's at home and
Nice.
our family's together. We'll definitely hit the hiking trails in and around the city, and we always enjoy that. And we'll probably go to the beach a bit just to enjoy a little bit of sun. And
How about any extra mayor's announcements? Should we always sort of do that at the end of the show that you might want to make?
just a couple things. Number one, it's been a tough year for everyone, and so I want everyone to know that the council is there to hear people's concerns, and I think people have been a great sport about this whole nightmare of us being locked down. We all could have been really grouchy and made things really miserable, but I think people's patience I really appreciate, and so for me to be mayor right now is a real honor. I'm always accessible to people to hear any problem and listen and help. And I also want to say that I'm about to defeat Councilman Bradley in a pie eating contest. So,
well, you know, we are RPV together, but this is sounding like we're about to have the pie divide. And on that note, though, we do want to let our residents know this is 4th of July countdown. And, you know, we all were hoping for that annual celebration right here at City Hall. Thousands of people show up to celebrate the red, white, and blue. So I know the council did take a look at ways to bring the community together still. I don't know if you want to just quickly touch on that before we get to the pie part.
No, it's going to be great because we're going to have our city staff buy a number of good-sized American flags, and those are going to be put up at our entrances and our key points within our city. The council is going to be doing some PSAs but more important than that, we're going to play some of the previous great highlights of other 4th of July shows. And you know, don't just sit and watch us. Though the reality is, go and have fun with your families, enjoy the great outdoors, and you know, let's give tribute to America.
Yes. And now we're going to do a tribute to our mayor and Councilman Dave Bradley. They're going to take on a tradition, really, that's always takes place at that 4th of July party. And I think that's how that got going was, you know, we'll miss that where you have the pie contest and you are coming back to defend your title. You've already been the RPV's Pie King once before.
I have. Before I was on the council, I actually was in the pie eating contest and I won. So I have a few tricks that I have not shared.
So Dave, get ready. I know he's outside the studio standing by, Councilman David Bradley. We are going to take a quick break and we're going to put a bib on the mayor so he doesn't get too dirty eating that pie because it was extra whipped cream thanks to Terranea. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Councilman Ken Dida, here to wish you a happy 4th of July and bring you a very fun fact. Did you know how many flags are actually sold in the United States every year? Over 150 million. But do you know how many have left and ended up elsewhere? There are 6 on the moon, all planted by astronauts. 5 of them are still visible in photos by NASA. So, the next time you look up at the moon, you might see the red, white, and blue. By the way, you too can proudly display the red, white, and blue. Have a very happy 4th of July and a safe one.
Hi, I'm Mayor Pro Tem Eric Alegria, here to bring you a message for the 4th of July. Although we can't all be together this year, we can use this time to reflect on our shared identities, not only as residents of our wonderful city, but also as Americans. There is much more that unites us than divides us. Enjoy time with your family and friends and stay safe.
All right, it's ready for the official pie challenge. Get your pie game on. On table number 1, I have defending champion, our mayor, John Cruikshank. He's been a winner before, and challenging him at table number 2, who's been practicing his pie technique all week, is our Councilmember David Bradley. Of course, the councilman has challenged you for the title, and may the best pie guy win. On your mark, get set, eat! All right, look at this. And by the way, this is the real whipped cream. You know it coming from Terranea. You know, I'm looking at Dave. He's being quite graceful here. He's using his manners eating his pie. There is a lot of blueberries. You guys are, oh, Dave's, oh my goodness, it's kind of neck and neck here, pie to pie. Wow. You better get moving, Mayor, to claim your title. It looks like Member Bradley is almost finished. I don't know, what do you say? I got my RPVtv team. It has to be a completely licked clean plate. I mean, this is, oh my goodness. And when you think you finished your plate, the first one with her head up is the winner. And I think the mayor has reclaimed his champion title. You were so close. Look at, and I have to say, his plate, the mayor's plate, is licked clean of whipped cream. Would you agree? Dave, but you know what? You both are great pie sports.
Nice job, buddy.
How does it feel to be, again, the Pie King of Rancho Palos Verdes right here?
Oh man, this feels good. Nothing more American. There's nothing more American than sucking down a whole bunch of calories real fast. And winning a contest like this feels awesome.
Well, we love the spirit
God
of the
bless
Fourth.
America.
Here, you guys are both winners. Take home a flag. Here's your runner-up flag. There you go.
Thanks.
You get one too. Wave the
Right in front of our
province. And now we're going to officially crown Rancho Palos Verdes Pie King. Let's put on your crown.
John beat me by about 3 seconds.
There he is.
I will say Dave is a very worthy opponent. If it was a full pie, he would have definitely won.
Any final words from you, the runner-up? You did a great job. A lot of pie on the beard.
It was close. It was close. It was very close.
This was a wonderful way to keep the spirit of the patriotism we feel. Happy 4th of July. That'll do it for RPV City Talk. I'm Liz Brown Swanson with the Mayor and Councilmember Bradley. Stay safe. Happy summer. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Thanks.